Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Health Chats podcast. I am here with a beautiful guest today, Miss Melissa Sanregret. Melissa is a local to Calgary real estate agent serving not just Calgary, but the greater Alberta area. I would love, Melissa, if you would introduce yourself. Who is Melissa? What do we need to know? Give us a 30-second intro.
Sure. And thanks for having me. This is really exciting. My name is Melissa Sanregret. I am originally from Edmonton, but I am super obsessed with living in Calgary. I love it here. I moved here in 2024, actually, and it has been the best city that I've lived in Canada so far. So I've been in real estate for about 6 years now. Before that, I was a flight attendant for 13 years with major airlines like Air Canada. And now I'm all the way in building my business here, and it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
great. So good to know you a little bit more. And I'm curious, first of all, like, how was that pivot to leave something you were in for 13 years and go into a business, which real estate is like owning your own business, right?
hmm
How was that pivot?
Yeah, I feel like, 2020 for everybody was a huge eye opener in a lot of ways. And for me, my dream job was always being a flight attendant. I loved my job. It was like something that I just like valued so highly. I put a lot of effort into getting into Air Canada as well. And so like within that time frame of March of 2020, when I lost not only that, but also another job that I had so suddenly, it was a huge like heartbreak. And also just a huge realization that like I'm relying on other people for my income and for my, well-being. And so I kind of knew then that I needed to now pivot into a career that would allow me to choose how I make my money and how and what my income will be coming in. And so yeah, I was living in Toronto. I moved back to Edmonton, and I had actually like decided that I wanted to be in real estate out in Toronto. So it wasn't like a too far off idea, because a lot of people don't know that flight attendants actually do get a lot of time off.
Mm.
Um, as time goes on, obviously. So there is an opportunity to do two things at once. And so when I moved back to Edmonton, I, I, uh, I asked around, and I ended up finding an agent who needed an assistant. And he turned out to be like probably the busiest agent I have ever met. He's still like the busiest agent I know.
Yeah.
He was doing like 15 transactions by himself, had just branched off on his own, and he took a chance on me to hire me because I knew nothing about real estate. I told him in our interview, he asked me what I knew about real estate. And I told him that I had watched all the seasons of Selling Sunset.
That's such a good answer.
And he's sitting across this table from me like, oh my goodness, I'm too busy to interview anyone else. So I just got to hire this girl. And then, yeah, so he said, like, read these books, you start on Monday. And he ended up just like picking me up and just like chucking me into the deep end of real estate. I had to learn everything very quick, like anything that I could do to help him out, I was doing while I was working towards getting my own license. So I attribute a lot of how I build my business today from those early days because, I don't feel like oftentimes a lot of agents get that luxury. You can start off with that course. That doesn't teach you very much about the actual job or like relating to people or everything like that. And so, um, with him, I was able to like really learn it quite quickly. And so when I was finally ready to branch off from his team, I kind of had all the tools in my tool belt.
Mm.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah. Such an amazing pivot. And immediately I'm like, she found a mentor, which
Mhm.
I think for anyone successful in what they do, that is such a common theme.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I sought out someone who is doing what I want to do, but they're steps ahead of me.
Mhm.
And I just like shadowed them and I absorbed all of the information. And fast forward to now, how we connected was through social media,
Yeah.
where I see your content and it's amazing. And
Thank
when I tell you, like, I'm not trying to buy a house,
you. Yeah.
but seeing that you are authentic and you are human and you just
Mhm.
show up and you're like doing cool stuff, that's where I was like, I need to chat with this girl
Mhm.
because I think in like business in general, aside from just real estate, there are so many overlapping things, one of them being marketing and content and really like selling yourself.
Mhm.
So in that journey of shadowing your mentor, the first real estate agent you worked with, from then until now, how did you become this person who now, through my research, I've learned you get a lot of your leads through your online marketing and you close deals through Instagram specifically? Yeah.
Yeah, I think, when I was working with that other agent, the way that I also ran his social media and everything as well. And the way that he had done things was quite a bit different than what worked for me. So when I branched off on my own and I was trying to do the same things that were working for him on his social media, it was just kind of falling flat. And I ended up kind of burning out for a little bit, and I ended up not posting about anything to do with my business at all for like almost a year. And then I started to be like, okay, you know what? I think I really just got to dive into it. And it really came from actually moving to Calgary. And I didn't really know anybody when I first moved here, like aside from like my best friend, she lived here. But other than that, I didn't know anyone. And so I had to, the thing about being an entrepreneur is that nobody knows about you unless you kind of go out and let them know that you exist, right? Because we could be sitting there like, oh, it's too bad we don't have any business. But what are we doing to take the steps to kind of like get out there and kind of be a little bit known? So I started working with a couple people in the industry who are really good at social media. And it was really a big inspiration for me to just like get out there and start posting because, like the motto, done is better than perfect. It's easier said than done, right? But I really did had to do it because otherwise I wasn't going to be able to make a business for myself. So I just started like experimenting with things and like putting out content that I related to. And as I started doing it, then it started getting easier. I listened to a podcast actually, and an agent from Calgary had said that it took him 10 months of consistently posting in order to, uh, build a relationship with the people online. And so I said, okay, if by 10 months, if I consistently post, then if I don't have any business by then at least I know I tried it and that's okay. Month 9 was when everything started happening within that. And it comes a lot of number one, recognizing the brand, that who you are, what you're bringing to the table. Cause like you and me, we're the only ones to ever exist like this in this world. Right. So all the takeaways, even if you were to build a real estate business tomorrow, would look totally different than mine. And that's the beauty of it. Right.
Mm.
So it's kind of just trying to find out who you are, owning it. And then also how you want to be perceived by the people who are following you, and what kind of connection you want to base with them, because social media has gotten very isolating nowadays. And so I like to treat the social media as being social. Like I like to, connect with my followers and find out what they're also interested in too. And yeah, so it's kind of that's really what changed is what I was doing with his business. It really didn't work for me. What I'm doing right now is completely opposite. And that's just kind of building connection and online. So
I see that so much, and that I deeply align with the authenticity. We have, if you're watching, you can see little Toby is here.
Mhm.
He's our special guest every so often on the
Mm.
pod. But yeah, the authenticity that you show up with, I align with that so much
Yeah.
because when I dove into social media years ago, I remember feeling so disconnected to all of the strategies and the marketing this and like make sure you have a CTA that. And while yes, important, if you're not showing up as yourself, you can't do it consistently and authentically. And like I said, you do that really well because you're showing it on social media, but you're also involved in community things. Like I see you
Mhm.
go to Calgary Run Crew, YYC Run Crew. You came to a yoga class one day. I remember you came to one of my classes and you were like, hey, one of the things that you talked about online like X amount of months ago, it
Yeah.
really impacted me. And I was
And we
like,
never met.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, I love that. Like you're bringing the virtual space, which is right, is very isolating, into the real world.
Mhm.
And it's like they're not separate, but it's one and the same. And I like
Mhm.
really see that in you. So
Yeah.
no doubt you've been successful.
Yeah. And this is something we talked about too, when I had brought that up, is that oftentimes, even when like you're posting content or I am, you never know really what people are seeing or resonating with. Cause a lot of the times people won't click like, or they'll look, watch it, but like kind of scroll past, and you don't really know like the full scope of like who you're impacting or what things are connecting with other people until you kind of tell them. Right. But we're not, oftentimes that doesn't happen.
No, not
So
often. Like when you did, I was like, whoa, this happens like once every few months. So peeps, if you're listening, tell us you see our content.
yeah,
It feels good. A lot of effort goes into it.
it does.
But yeah, so that's something that is deeply aligned with like
Mm,
my own values and building community too. You moved here, you said just in 2024.
mhm,
So it's been 2 years. And I know that is one of the hardest things to do is find your people
mhm,
when you do move into a new city. I'm curious if you have always been this person who like owns, because it's courage
mhm,
really, has a lot of courage to just like go out and do it,
mhm.
or did you have to build that as a mindset?
I think it's definitely something that I've grown into. Also, kind of, I think I have found, so I moved from Edmonton to Toronto in 2017 with Air Canada. And I think that was like the biggest leap of faith, I guess, in terms of like moving far away from my family and everything like that, and kind of being, out there just making it on my own in that big city. It was very lonely at the beginning. And it wasn't until I joined a fitness community that I really found my people. And I truly believe that fitness is where you're going to find your closest friends and the people in a new city that you want to connect with, because you already have that thing in common of taking care of yourself, but then you realize that you also have other things in common with them as well. And so when I moved here, actually the very first day I moved here was the day of Run Club. So I just like went immediately, ended up talking to some people, like everyone was so open. And then through that, I've built my friendship group through that as well. So, and even through yoga and everything like that too, like it's just like that's where you find your people, like, and connect with is like those like-minded people through
Yeah,
that.
definitely. As you said that, I had a flashback and I'm like, I think that's actually where we met.
Yeah.
Was Run Crew. Was it? Do you remember that?
I don't know. You know what? I think came up on my social media because I was following you before I've ever met you,
Yeah.
right?
I will have to look through the vine of people, but I remember specifically because it's been some time since I've gone to Run Crew. I've had to stop running just with like my own health stuff. But yeah, I think it would have been a couple years ago, and we met whether it was your first time or like a few times in.
Cool.
But I totally agree with you. Like fitness, especially when you're of the entrepreneur mind and like the growth mind,
Yeah.
you're not going to meet your people in a bar.
Yeah.
Like you're going to meet your people at run clubs, at fitness classes, yoga classes. And it also, like, even with that, it does still take courage. Like, yes, you can show
Mhm.
up there, but if you're being quiet and you're not talking to anyone, you're not going to
Yeah.
find your people. You've got to like open yourself to be like, hey, like, this is me and my weird things. Like, do you want to be friends?
Yeah.
All of your idiosyncrasies that are just like seem louder
Yeah.
when you're new to somewhere.
So true.
So yeah, that's a cool story that you've been able to find that through health and wellness. And
Mhm.
I want to talk about health because we're on the
Mhm.
Health Chats podcast, obviously.
Yeah.
I am curious with a woman who, from the outside looking in, is always fucking working. Like you are so driven, you're making content, you're in real estate. I know early days in anything is a grind.
Mm.
Do you feel, or how do you find a balance between prioritizing your health and showing up in that way for business?
Yeah, I feel like once again, a lot of how I run my business now, it really did come from those early days of working as an assistant to that other agent, because he was very, very uh, adamant that you need to block off your personal time and you need to keep your boundaries up where they should be. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. And inevitably, when you get busy, you won't be able to handle anything. And you don't want to be that person who is missing all the events in your life because, of other things.
Mhm.
And so one thing that I really incorporated into building my week is on Sunday, I will I'll block off an hour, put my phone away and look at my schedule, put in all of the things that I need to do for that week, like where I want to work out, what's already scheduled for work, and then all my other personal time, like events and everything like that. And then I put those in. And then after that, I kind of like try to like schedule everything else around that time frame. Because oftentimes there will be, something that will come up unexpectedly. But there is usually an opportunity for me to be able to move some things around without completely like throwing my whole personal life out the window. And so that's really important for me. And then also really like committing to working on my business when I'm supposed to be doing it. So, there's one thing with like being in your business and working with clients and everything like that is the easy part. That's the part we love to do. We're in there with the action. It's working on the business, building your client base, social media and, following up with everybody, that all that technical stuff behind the scenes that no one really sees. I mean, that's the hard part. But if it's not consistent, then, your business, will have really good times and then bad, and it'll be like a roller coaster. So what I'll do is I'll kind of like block off like a 2-hour time frame in the mornings usually. And I'll set like 25-minute blocks of things that I need to get done within that time frame. So set a timer, phone away, work on this thing, 5-minute timer comes up. I look at my phone, respond to whatever, and then go back into it. And then I actually feel accomplished. No matter what happens after that throughout my day, I know at least I committed to building my business, on that aspect. And I really noticed a huge difference when I started doing that. And that actually ties into about in around 2022, I hired an ADHD coach for myself for my personal business because I have ADHD and I needed to figure out how to like run things properly because I was all over the place. And so kind of doing that was one of the major things that we learned to do is kind of just like setting time to do that. And like that was a huge game changer for me.
Yeah, like time blocking is what I'm hearing, and I relate so much because I mean, if we shared Google Calendars, we'd probably both feel really good and be like, "Yes, we both do that. Oh yeah, okay, there's a workout. Oh, maybe we can go to a yoga class."
Yeah.
But I see that so much. You have to have them, I always say, almost in their like doctor's appointments. This can't be missed, otherwise you're going to be charged a fee. I mean, luckily here we don't get charged fees for doctor's appointments, but any sort of appointment. It's like, if you miss this, what is the cost? Usually the cost is yourself when you're a business owner. But even in terms of health, if you miss your workout, what's the cost? I mean, they don't really care, but it's how you feel and how you can show up in the rest of your days. And I want to talk about that ADHD coaching because you mentioned that when you came in. What were the frameworks other than time blocking? I feel like that's a pretty obvious one. Was there anything else that you learned that now you do to help keep things more focused? I think ADHD is like 90%, it seems like. I don't know the actual statistics right now, but like everyone I know and their dog is struggling with this right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, what kind of frameworks have you brought in or would you advise people to do as a coach? Because you're a coach. Too.
Yeah. I actually am a certified ADHD coach as well. And I would say the same thing. So you must hang out with entrepreneurs and creatives quite often, right? So the same thing with real estate agents. A lot of creatives, entrepreneurs, people who think outside the box, and like real estate agents are often ADHDers. So it's because we're really not afraid to take risks. We're very motivated and driven. And then there's a lot of really good things about it that would actually attribute to us getting into being our own bosses. But there's also a lot of things that we struggle with. And that is, learning how to time block properly, setting goals and completing them. Oftentimes, there's quite a few things that are very common with ADHD is like struggling to get things done. So like starting a bunch of stuff and then, not being able to really complete it or, getting distracted and like bouncing all over the place. And like also like short-term memory loss, like visual, if it's like not in directly in our line of vision, then we kind of forget that it exists. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So when I was first starting my business and working with the other agent, I really struggled with a lot of the administration tasks that I needed to get done for him. Like it was like painful sometimes to sit at my computer and get these things done. I like more being around people. That's the part where I excel. And so what I learned from that coaching was like learning how my brain works in terms of how I understand how time works and how to kind of build my business kind of that way. Like everything I have is color coded. I have a huge whiteboard, physically to help me out and everything like that. And the timer thing really does help as well for like kind of getting some things done like that. So yeah, it's been really good.
No, that's so helpful. I feel so I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but everything you're saying, I'm like, that is how I've built my life because if I didn't have it, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah.
Like I feel like my time would just be kind of pulled out from under me. And some people might just call that type A, but I
Mhm.
think people with ADHD are normally more type B, right? Where you prefer to be kind of like free flowy and I mean it feels better to be that way, or is that wrong?
Uh,
Do you see it?
It depends. Like it very much manifests itself in different ways for different people. Cause there is like the attention deficit hyperactive where it's like it bounces. And then there's also the internalized one where your mind's going like a mile a minute. But it's not very much like all on the outside. So like, well, what ADHD is actually genetic. Um, Most of the time, 70% genetic, more genetic than eye color actually, which is,
Mm,
a statistic that a fun fact here.
yeah, that's kind of cool.
But yeah, so what it is that your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for, memories and time blocking and feeling the passing of time and your emotions and everything like that, from the middle of your brain to the prefrontal cortex should be like a smooth roadway for your neurons to pass like information through. And with ADHDers, it's more like a gravel path, I guess.
Mm,
So it's like all of the information doesn't always make it to its proper destination. And so that's where you kind of get like the scatter and like the all over the place type of functions.
yeah.
So I think it comes down to being like, okay, like how am I, if one way doesn't work for a specific person in terms of like understanding how to like time block and stuff like that, then what else could work? You know what I mean? There's always like other options to try. And so it's basically just like coming down to understanding how to get yourself motivated to kind of get these things done and understanding that like if you don't get them done, then it's not the end of the world because we're really hard on ourselves. And so, oftentimes we want to be like the best at everything right away. And if we're not, then we'll like not do try it again. And so it's kind of just like, how can I get myself like out of those slumps and like not being so hard on myself, especially as an entrepreneur. So
Yeah, I love that descriptor of the smooth road versus the gravel road.
yeah.
That it just like clicked in my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I'm very visual that
Mhm,
way. Health is not just physical, it's also
mhm,
mental, spiritual, all of those things. Do you have practices for when maybe you do get hard on yourself? Because I know as an entrepreneur, it's so easy to be like, you didn't do enough, even though
mhm.
you were working from like 5 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Like, how do you help get yourself out of that in those moments where
Mhm.
it's like there's always a goal ahead? How do you bring yourself back?
You know what? It comes down to taking a minute to celebrate the wins, whether they're big or small, and celebrating yourself too. I think what was I going to say about them? So basically, like one thing with especially with ADHD is that it's a very emotionally charged thing. There's a lot like you can get like pretty sad and pretty angry and pretty like emotionally charged like very quickly. And so one thing that's really helped for me is when I'm feeling like anxious or stressed out, actually have a physical list of emotions that I look at and go, okay, what is this that I'm feeling right now? And like naming the emotion that I'm feeling and like saying it out loud. Like I am feeling like this. So then after that, it's kind of like once it comes out and you're like in that present place with that like emotion, then you can kind of learn, then you learn now what's making me feel that way,
Mhm,
and how to kind of like get past it.
mhm.
I think, yoga has really helped me as well when it comes to regulating my nervous system, just because, I feel like that's the perfect form of meditation for me because I'm truly just there with my body in my head and just like noticing the things that I can do. And I'm not thinking about anything else at that time. So no matter what day I'm having, high, extreme high or extreme low. Whenever I'm finished practicing, I will be like here, like on
Yeah.
on a main plane. And so when I'm feeling stressed out or anxious or like I'm not doing enough, I will literally take some time outs and do like get on my mat and just like take a minute to be like, okay, let's reset here. Like, is this really real what you're feeling? And can we just revisit this in a minute?
Mhm.
Because if we don't take those times for ourselves to like name our emotion and sit with it for a little while and get past it, if you stuff it away, it's going to come back. It's going to be worse, you know? And so, being able to like sit with it and feel it and move past it is like one of the major things you can do in order to get going.
Uh, that's such a, I mean, powerful answer. I think in 2026, people are more aware of feeling their feelings
Mhm.
and like getting into that process. But there are also still a lot of people who distract and they numb out and they just like keep working and doing. Hearing that from someone who's successful in their business, who has ADHD, I think that in itself is very inspiring for listeners that,
Right.
she's not always grinding. She
Mhm.
is also feeling her feelings,
Yeah.
right? And I wonder too, because I know when I first started everything, it was like you said, burnout, falls to the wall, like just
Mhm.
go, go, go. Is this a new practice for you?
Mhm.
The kind of like feeling and sitting with it? Or
Yeah,
have you always, yeah, it is newer?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I burnt out quite a few times in my first few years of trying to build this. Because it's as an entrepreneur, as you know, like if you're there's always something else to do. Like there's
Mhm.
no shortage of things. There's always going to be a task list. And so, if you're consistently doing it and doing it and like at the expense of yourself, then you burn out, you actually lose more time because, like there have been times where I'll be like, I don't even want to sit at my computer. I don't even want to talk to anyone. You know what I mean? And then everything kind of goes away and then you're having to start from scratch and you're, clawing your way back up the ladder again. And so that has definitely been like the number one is like take that time
Yeah.
when you need it to just like reset and bring yourself back. Like obviously, yeah, Instagram is such a highlight reel, like a lot of people don't know or see all of the blood, sweat, and literal tears that go on behind the scenes, when you're trying to build something that you believe in so much. And so, you know, t- just like taking the time to sit and also celebrate yourself too is like such a huge part of the whole experience too. Like even if it's just something really small, like getting something small done or, something you didn't expect, it's just like take yourself out for coffee, buy yourself a treat. I don't know, like whatever you think, like to celebrate those things is like super important.
Oh yeah, I'm here with you. I have brought in this new practice recently where and I've had it in the past, but right now it's at the end of my day, I'm like, okay, what went well
Mm,
today? And I could have had a full calendar, got none of it done because maybe my emotions took over, which is also a very feminine thing. As women, we are much more emotional than men. Not that men aren't emotional. Feel your feels, boys listening and men. But yeah, I'm like at the end of my day, okay, what went well? And sometimes it's a smile. I smiled at someone when I went on my walk. That went well. Okay, I'm going to write that
I
down
love
because
it.
when we don't do those like self audits, almost you could call it, our brain, I don't know if it's just like wired for negativity or because of the state of the world being mostly negative information and media,
Mhm.
but your brain won't look for it if you don't do it, like
Yeah.
actively do it and work on it. And over time, through any habit, it gets easier,
Hmm.
right? It becomes much, much easier. And so I want to talk a little bit more on like that content because you're talking about Instagram and yes, how
Hmm.
it's a highlight reel. I want to get to like the specifics because you put out a video. I think this is your most recent one. And it was so good. It was like you in the winter and then in the summer. And like, how did you make this? Was this
Yeah.
AI? Give us the dirty details.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like for that one, it was actually, uh, I actually came up with that, which I'm actually proud of myself for it. Because normally, like, you know, nothing's really new on Instagram. You'll see an idea and then you kind of try to like replicate it in your own words and stuff like that. But this one, I was like, oh my goodness, it's like so cold and yucky. I'm gonna put a dress on and do like a quick change thing where I like check off my jacket. And then luckily with like the videographer that I'm working with for my listing videos, they were able to like kind of mimic what it would look like to be summertime
Yeah.
in that neighborhood, which was really nice. And they actually did have like summertime drone from previous. So they were able to kind of use that as well to like bring that into play, which was like a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I think, with social media and posts and stuff like that, like I said, it's just showing up and just getting it out there. Cause like we overthink it a lot, that it's like, oh, it's not gonna resonate. But I've found that the things that I overthink and like put a lot of work into barely do anything. And then the things that I just quickly throw out there, they do really, really well. And so I guess it comes down to being like, okay, somebody told me this before. If you're standing in line at the grocery store, you pull out your phone and you see a post and then it refreshes, it's gone forever. We kind of got to think of our social media like that, like showing up, being like, hey, just a reminder, like I'm still here doing my thing. And then keeping in mind that like not everyone's going to see everything you post. And then also just like, so that's why just like not to take it too seriously. Like just keep putting it out there. If it resonates, cool. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Like my goal has never really been to be like ultra viral. I really like specifically focusing on like Calgary specifically and like the areas that I'm trying to serve. If it happens to go viral, that's cool. But if it doesn't, that's okay too, because like at least I know that I'm reaching the audience that I want to specifically talk to and communicate with. So
That's a great mindset around it. I saw something probably this morning, yesterday, who knows when, that Justin Bieber posted 95 times in the last, I think, week or less about his new album. 95 posts
wow.
in like 7 days. He does not care about posting too much or things being perfect. And it's Justin Bieber, obviously different industry, but very successful human
Yeah.
who has this level of just like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think we could learn a lot from,
Yeah.
because you're right. Like, how often do you open your phone and you see something and then it's gone? Like, what is that thing?
Yeah.
Can you even think about it right now? Like, what was the last thing that I actually saw? We pay attention to ourselves way more than other people do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that perfectionism, which is something I used to struggle with and still do, it comes up quite a bit. It just gets in the way of your success, whatever you define success as, right? So I love that. I think it's also really cool that you're so community focused with it. Obviously, building a business in Calgary and like reaching these people here. Do you have ideal types of clients that you tend to work with, or who are you looking to pull into your business?
Yeah. And before we go further, I just wanted to say I feel that you really do your content very well in that regard too. Like I have resonated with your content so often because you humanize, your life and what you're going through. There's a celebration of your wins, but also a real honesty that I feel like is really important in today's world, is to be able to be human and relate to people on those levels. So I just got to say,
Thank
thanks for doing that.
you. Thank you so much.
But in terms of like my clients, I have, I guess, I are willing to work with like kind of everybody while you get your business going. But everyone always says niche down, like find who you like to work with. And like my ideal client just kind of came about because I am one. Like I work oftentimes with millennials who are buying their first home or upsizing from their smaller home to their bigger one. And then, those are the people I love to work with because, buying a home for the first time is such an exciting experience. It's a huge milestone. And so, being chosen to be a part of that and like having the tools necessary to like keep everyone informed as we go along is like so special to me. Like that, even get it chosen in the first place. There's like 8,000 of us in Calgary, and so I really, like after a few years, 95% of my business was working with people around my age. I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just niche down on this. Like I should probably just start speaking just directly to, entrepreneurs, people who are buying their first home and then also on the back end, perfect that thing. So like not just being like, yeah, I can help you, but being like, oh, you want to do this? Here's all the steps you need to take so you're not overwhelmed at any given time. like, here's the information you need to know at this given time. So yeah.
I love that. That's like relatability, which I think is
Mhm.
super important in anything. People want to feel relatable and connected. Of course, in business, I used to work in sales. I had multiple different sales roles. It's not about selling.
Yeah.
It's about connecting,
Yes.
I think, more than anything. And yeah, if you have millennials, people your age, what better way to connect
Mhm.
over like what songs popping off,
Yeah.
what's going on Instagram, like things that we actually talk about
Yeah.
versus maybe someone older where they're just like maybe looking down on you because you're young and they don't
Mhm.
really trust you. So I think that's a cool niche to dive a little bit into. I want to move towards wrapping up. We've
Yeah.
chatted about so much. There's a few questions that I love to ask everyone.
Mhm.
The first one is, as someone who is in entrepreneurship and building their life, building success, seeking success, maybe what does success actually mean to you?
That's a really good question. I think, there's always a certain level of like, once we get to a certain spot, there's always another spot to get to. And I think, success for me means getting time back, enough time that I'm not, consistently putting the pedal to the metal and having to do all of the things that you normally have to do right at the beginning of building a business, getting the systems in place and the people in my team or in my corner to allow me to eventually be able to take some time back. And so, that's the only thing that we can't get back is time. And so like currently, like I have an assistant, she's phenomenal, and she helps me being able to, become more just like being able to be in person with my clients and, on the phone with them and everything that, but everything else, being able to take a step back from. And I think that's kind of where success lies for me, is like building a business that if I step away for 1 second, I know could run itself. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Obviously it's a little different with you're in real estate, but then having the teammates to be able to step in and be like, hey, or the people that you trust to be like there for you that can do the same kind of thing as you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I love that time. I'm curious to pull off of that same question. Is this how you have always defined success or has that changed?
Like I think, success, it's such a different thing for everybody. I defined successful like once upon a time as just like being like a super tip top like luxury agent or something like that. Like I have found through like building this career that it really is building a business that I'm happy with and that people resonate with it as well, that can consistently grow. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, I think that's probably, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's right if it feels right.
Yeah. Success has all like what I thought it was before was like being super jam-packed busy. And there is the possibility of still being jam-packed busy, but still being able to take some time for yourself. So
Totally. Totally.
yeah.
I think that's growth too. And I
Hmm.
relate to that so much. And time, freedom, feeling
Yeah.
like I am successful even if I'm not grinding 24/7, right?
Exactly.
I want to ask next question. This is more specific to you. So you wear yellow. Yellow is kind of like your color and I love the color. It's so vibrant. I also noticed like the bumblebee. It says be kind. You have a couple tattoos which I think are bumblebees. Can you share what is this? Bring it to life. What is this in Melissa's world?
Yeah. So Melissa
Mhm.
actually means honeybee.
Oh.
Yeah. It's Greek for honeybee. And so I have always resonated with that. So I've always loved bees.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a few years ago that I actually became a beekeeper.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So there was this one day, actually, I was talking to my brother about it. He's like, we should become beekeepers. I was like, we should.
Yeah.
And so I looked into it and I ended up apprenticing with somebody. And this was like 4 years ago. And now, yeah, here in Calgary, I work with a girl from like, she's also in yoga as well, but
Yeah.
she was starting her business as a beekeeper. I've already had the experience. So her and I teamed
Jamie.
forces. Yeah, Jamie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and she was her first year into it, and I have been doing this for a few years. So our powers combined, we had a really great year last year doing natural beekeeping. So no sprays or anything
Wow.
like that, just letting them live their best lives. And then
That's adorable.
Yeah.
So cute. I love that.
Yeah. So then through that, then I like that's my brand then, like honey. I actually gift the honey jars to my clients on closing and just in general, just like really leaned into the whole honeybee aesthetic.
Oh, as you should, because now it's your signature, and I
Yeah.
see it. It definitely shines so brightly, and I love the be kind, because that's also my thing is be kind. Just be kind.
Be kind. Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, that's really the best. Like love really trumps everything. So
Yeah.
anything we can do to just be better to each other.
I agree. Okay, anything I didn't ask you that you hope for listeners to hear before we wrap up?
I would honestly say just continue being yourself. If you're building your business and you're feeling like maybe there's some things that aren't working out, take an audit of the things that are going on and ask yourself, where can I like show up more authentically? I guess in regards to like your content, whether it's your emails or your Instagrams or your YouTubes, put out stuff that really resonates with you, because you would be so surprised at who's going to resonate back with it. So yeah. And then just keep putting it out there. Don't overthink it.
Yes, I love that. I loved this chat.
Me too. Thanks so much for having
Melissa.
me.
Yeah. Okay, we'll chat again. Peace and love, everyone.